Hey everyone, Nashi here. So recently, Global Labs got an update where they added a new Rabam skill option. So now we have three available to us. We have the normal one, which this would be the level 56 one, the 57 ones that we're already familiar with, and now the level 58 one. Maybe in the future they'll add 59 and 60, but that's neither here nor there right now. So really quickly go over the recent changes. So they buffed up the original skills on specific skills. So for us, they did a little bit of a damage increase on Crimson Gust. This now does roughly 300% more damage per hit. Um, and I've tested this a little bit, and the damage actually feels kind of decent. And I say that very cautiously being decent. It's not amazing. It's not like the old Crimson Gust when it first was introduced and it was like one-shotting people. But it does do decent damage now. And I think it's viable to use for a medium damage option. Don't expect it to just one-shot people unless you're like extremely geared. But it could do about 30 to 40% depending on the gear difference. I think that's pretty fair to say. So that's pretty good, and it provides a float opportunity as well, so it's not bad. Will it make it better than Maehwa's will? I guess that's up to you. Um, the other change was to Blooming Stride. Blooming Stride got a negative 50% movement for 10 negative 50% movement slow for 10 seconds to your opponent on good hits. So this skill did not have this previously, and that actually is a pretty good change for this skill. What Blooming Stride lacks in mobility that Blooming Step offers, it now does a slow to help you maintain negative 50% movement slows and in a semi-protected state, you being a forward guard. So now you have the option between Blooming Stride and Backstep Slash to help out with that. So that's pretty nice. The damage on this skill is kind of meh, so do not like really look at it for damage. Even on down attack, it's not really that good because it has a down attack modifier. So it's not really good for that kind of thing. It's just a utility slow now at this point. Blooming Stride actually does pretty good in PvE though. So I don't remember exactly how much damage it does. I haven't tested it in Global Labs. They didn't do any number changes to it. So um, but I know a lot of Maehwas in like KR, for example, they like to use Blooming Stride in PvE. But yeah, so that's an option for you if you're interested in that. I personally will probably still lean towards the Blooming Step just because I like the disengage and engage potential with its distance, since Succession specifically lacks a lot of mobility in its kit for non-stamina related mobility. So yeah, that's where my leanings are. I might change my stance on this if I play around with it in PvP and find it more useful. So we'll see. And now for the main part of the topic here. The new Rabam is based off of Decapitation and either Cyclone Slash or Dragon Claw. So this is a little weird with their first introduction. So mind you, bear in mind, I will have some negative comments about this, but it's to be constructive for the devs if they ever see this kind of content. I'll be surprised if they do, but um, basically, the Cyclone Slash one isn't a terrible idea. Um, it needs some tweaking. So let me go ahead and show that now. The damage on it's basically irrelevant. I haven't seen it do anything major. It has a 50% crit chance on it, and it has a bunch of numbers, but the numbers are pretty low. And the other text on there is it has a float chance, and it does air attack damage. So I will go ahead and demonstrate this skill. So as you see, it's basically Cyclone Slash, and yes, you can use Cyclone Slash as well. Both of them will float their opponent. The main differences is the cooldown for one. Cyclone Slash has a 9-second at absolute, and the Rabam has a 22-second cooldown. So that's pretty long, but that gives you the option to you know, like move around with multiple zoning tool options. So that's pretty nice. There is some problems with this design, and I'm going to demonstrate those here, hopefully. So it has a little bit of a startup animation where you're kind of like stuck in place and you can't cancel out of it very quickly. So that's a opening, a gap of sorts, and that's very bad. So like, here's Cyclone Slash. I can move immediately, right? And I can turn my camera immediately after casting the initial thing because the cyclone comes out immediately. Here's what happens when you do that with the new one. So I get stuck in place for the full animation, and the cyclone doesn't even hit the target because I moved my camera. And I'll do it on a different minion just to demonstrate. Wish they had a way to just like auto reset these in the safe zones in BA. That would be nice. So see how I turned my camera and I flicked it and my cyclone went that way, even though I was originally starting the attack that way. So that's a little weird. So if you try to like do the skill like this, you need to wait until it gets actually released. The tornado gets actually released, and the release is a little delayed. So it's weird. That needs an adjustment, like badly. I don't like that design, that feel. The distance traveled is the same between them, so that's good at least. Do this after the guy gets up. It didn't hit him at all because he was resetting, but yeah, the distance is the same. I've messed with it on Global Labs. I haven't seen anything to suggest otherwise. But yeah, that's the whole weirdness with that skill. I like the idea, don't like the implementation, unfortunately. So I hope they make adjustments to that, and then that would be fine. It's an okay utility option. It's not amazing by any means. I think it's just okay at best. The long cooldown makes it kind of meh, and its animation at the start where you're locked in and it's unprotected, and it's got a weirdness if you throw your camera like you're trying to prepare to chase away, and it throws the tornado the other direction rather than where you originally planned for it to go. That needs to change. So that makes this like kind of on the bad side, but if they were to fix those, it would be okay. So right now I give this it's kind of like meh to bad. But it is the better option than the other one, which is sad. So let's go ahead and show the other one. So the other one is based off of Decap and Dragonclaw. Let's go ahead and learn that. This is like a shittier version of Decapitation. Like, imagine level 1 Decapitation, and that's the level of damage I see when I use this skill. So if you look at Prime has 977 times 3 and 1388 times 4 with 100% crit rate and 60% accuracy. That's on Prime. The Absolute has 845 times 3, 1320 times 2 with 100% crit rate. So the Absolute one does pretty garbo damage as well. Yeah, this is pretty trash. So in PvE, it'll spin the mobs on good hits, so that could be useful in PvE. I haven't tested it in PvE. It does a stun on the first hit, and it does down attack damage. But damage is reduced in PvP for both of them. Basically what ends up happening with this skill is it looks like this. So it does a stun on that first part, and then it spins them as well, and then it does a slash. It's just weird. It doesn't really do much damage at all, unfortunately. I mean, I have 317, 309. It's just a weird skill. Let me go hit someone randomly. Find their DP. Hopefully there's no cancer players out here. 383, 317, 309. So did like 20% maybe, if that. So that was on back attack, which has roughly the same damage modifier. He'll just ult and kill me. And then let me do a down attack. Or resist everything. That'll happen. Let's see if they'll let me test this down attack option real quick. So I did like 20%. He had 383 DP versus my 317, 309. Like if I were to do blooming, for example, I can easily normally combo him. It's not a problem at all. So it's like it's just meh. It's like really bad in my opinion. Like I would have expected more since these are both unprotected. I like the idea of the zoning tool. Sure, give me another zoning tool, that's fine, whatever. But don't let me get stuck in animation. Like some of these classes, like Hashashin, for example, that can freaking teleport to me in an instant, and then I'm dead. Like, so Suck Wizard can teleport to me in an instant, and I'm dead. Like, those kinds of stuck animations don't make sense. For how the meta is now. This needs to be faster. We're supposed to be a class that's based around, you know, like our mobility, our zoning, as well as our ability to maintain distance and whatnot. But like this just gives people an opening. So, and then this one is just does nothing for us. Like I don't really see anything of value here. Just doesn't really do anything at all. I don't know. Just this is a little unfortunate, but sadly I feel like it's kind of what a lot of classes have received similar issues with their new rebams. There are some select classes that actually got pretty decent rebams, but this is what it is. Here's the Crimson Gust. I'll show that. So as you can see, the Crimson Gust now with 283, that actually did really good damage, so that's not bad at all. And of course the Blooming Stride, that had no damage increase, that was just negative 50% movement slow. So let me go ahead and I don't have any add-ons on this, so the damage actually could be higher on the Crimson Gust a little bit and on the other stuff, but I guess you could do something weird like that. So I don't know. The new skill's just garbage. Crimson Gust is actually usable now, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean that's it. That's the info. Like I said, the new rebams are kind of garbage. The old rebams got buffs and are fairly decent now. I personally probably won't use the Stride still, but the Crimson Gust I might actually look into, especially for Succession. So I think that's pretty viable for Succession. So if I, you know, like that's considerable damage. So, but yeah. All right, everyone. I will catch you next time.